Hey there, guys. Dr. Paul here. I just wanted to share something with you uh, that I've been waiting for. Going to share something with you that I've been waiting for 20 years. And it is my Christmas gift to myself. Um, Cost about $200 total for these two hardbound books, about 200 pages each. And I never give Christmas gifts to myself. I've always spent my whole life getting like overdoing it, giving gifts to others, like my family and friends. But in this situation, it's been 20 years of writing, uh, 16 total volumes of bringing together an entire system of human courtship in 3 phases and 9 steps. And I called it romantic dynamics for the last 20 years. It took me this long to physically write about 5 or 6 thousand pages total, and we have they've arrived. They also exist digitally, of course, on romantipedia.com. Those of you who are upgraded Substack members have access to that. But I sure like the physicality of a paper book, and this is 2 volumes to cover step 9 of courtship, the final step. That's the reason that this is the big Christmas gift to myself, because I have completed my work, um, with the 9th step completely edited and very beautiful um, paintings to be able to illustrate. The 9th step of courtship is, I dub it, where we are going, achieving life's goals together. This is once the two people have become true partners, fit for being together for life, where they're more successful together than as singles, which would be an obvious requirement, logical, if you were going to partner with somebody, marry somebody. But in addition, it's also the step at which males must test the woman finally for both femininity, feminine knowledge of masculinity, or things will not work out, and also for character, for solidness of beneficence and goodness of character. Um, so that's why the first chapter is called His Tests and Their Goals, because they both need to reach their personal goals as married people. It's important to guard against narcissistic relationships, as always, beginning in step 1, but not excluding step 9. And we cover all manner of synthesizing together various models and theories that already exist but don't completely explain all of human courtship. For example, Gottman and the Gottman bid idea for couples is important, but absolutely doesn't cover dating or Tinder or anything like that. Gottman is all about already married people and keeping things afloat and avoiding the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, as he calls it. So Gottman doesn't completely explain human courtship. He explains marriage to a very good degree. But I have something to add to that that has to do with the character structure of the two people. So I have to use positive psychology as well in the final phase of courtship. See, here's where the man tests the woman. Whole chapter on that. Way back at the beginning, when two people just start dating, some of the theories that matter most there, you will well know, evolutionary psychology matters. Gottman does not, and Jungian psychology can join um, evolutionary psychology early in dating. But when we get to the final step of human courtship, it's not a straight line. It's actually a circle. We circle back to really to the beginning, to the sexuality and the passion. And one way of encouraging that, I just noticed early in this final chapter or final book, set of books, 14 or no, 16 books in all, about 2 to 400 pages each. So that's a lot. But masculine bids and feminine bids, instead of just generalized bids like, hey, honey, you look pretty today, or hey, my man, um, it actually the bids should address the passionate gender instincts, as we call them, the masculine instincts and feminine instincts, like Zeus, Hermes, Ares, as you see here, Poseidon. And I call them a Zeus bid, a Poseidon bid, an Ares bid. This would be how a married woman would very much target the passionate triggers in the man with her Gottman bids toward him. We use a lot of Greek myth to explain uh, the masculine and feminine instincts. Theseus and Ariadne, the golden thread of Ariadne matters greatly for making things work in marriage. And you see some of the beautiful artwork. Let's see, achieving mutual and personal life's goals, the mission of the man and the purpose of the woman. And here's the perfect mathematics of a perfectly intimate partnership relationship. The two people know each other to the core, but no further. They don't overtake the identity of their partner, but they do know them to the core. And you see that shape in the middle called a mandorla? The ratio of length to width is 1.618, which you may know of as the Greek number phi, seen in physics, mathematics, the beauty of nature, and beautiful art. It's the perfect ratio called phi. So you can even see mathematics in coupled relationships. Pretty interesting. So I'm very excited about my Christmas gift to myself here, looking for some more art. Work is to men as the body is to women. That's very true. Yeah, men don't care if they get bruised up playing football, but if you bruise their careers, it's like damage to the body, their body of work. Odysseus bid, Hephaestus bid, a feminine bid, Aphrodite bid. That's the beauty and the physical care of the female body. You know, skincare, attire, uh, the spa, facials, Aphrodite bid, Apollo bid. Yeah, so I go through, I rework Gottman and join it to evolutionary psychology here in this final step of human courtship. The riddle of the Sphinx, work life balance in a partnership. So I love the fonts. I chose these fonts 20 years ago before they were cool. And now they're are standard in good books, textbooks. There's Lato and Oswald for headings. Got a lot of diagrams. It takes two to hold the thread. Chapter 6, Perseus, Medusa, and feminine shame. How the male needs to not shame the female within the married relationship. So I use a lot of good artwork to illustrate things. Ooh, there's Medusa's head and Perseus. Pretty scary. That's the face of cancellation today. And yeah, so we got a lot of good stuff in part one of step 9. Now that my life's work is done, here's part 2, and I like this. Ooh, I like what we start with. We start with escaping narcissistic abuse. And that's a picture of Paris because the first chapter in volume 2 is about Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris, going through that whole film and learning all about narcissistic abuse, in this case of the male, Owen Wilson, by Rachel McAdams, who plays a really great uh, villain, so to speak, relationship villain. Escaping the narcissistic relationship, Midnight in Paris, as a film analysis to understand narcissistic abuse. And we join with the story of Orpheus and Eurydice to understand. There's F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda and Hemingway. And wow, yeah, we've got some good artwork here. Really like how it turned out. Why? Interesting research. I built footnotes through the entire romantipedia.com site, and here's one in the printed hardcover book. Wives with more education than husbands less likely to divorce. Interesting. There's some of the research. So we support all of the synthesis of these theories, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychodynamics, object relations and attachment theory, positive psychology, evolutionary psychology, Jungian psychology, behavioral activation therapy, accept and commit therapy, um, Gottman theory, and we largely leave sociology to its own potentially destructive devices. Stick with only with psychology, hardcore psychology and biology and evolutionary science. Um, well researched research studies rather than polls and surveys. Apollo and Daphne, the Odysseus and Eno instincts. Ooh, and we get to male tests of the female partner. Finally, females test the male in step 3 because of evolutionary psychology. They test the male for masculine level and for character all the way back in step 3, which is still in the sexual attraction phase. But Zeus tests as father leader. And there's Zeus and Hera, the twin godheads of Mount Olympus, the twin leaders. And interesting. Okay. Oh, there's something I like toward the end. I do a denouement, an ending to this whole human courtship model. There's the Dionysus test of commitment. Can you celebrate as a couple? Can you celebrate wins? What I want to show you is the very ending. That's not it. Eros tests. The story of Eros and Psyche is instructive of the entire feminine experience of marriage. It's written a lot by Jungian psychologist Robert Johnson. You ought to get Robert Johnson's books. He, one book, He, another book, and We. Brilliant titles. But here's what I want to show you. I do a denouement, an ending after this last chapter, vows and successful union. And there's Eros and Psyche. Oh, with the 3 rules of Gottman therapy. By the way, these are all available on the romantipedia.substack.com website and also the Dr. Paul Dobransky website, substack.com. Under books, top heading. They're very expensive because they're basically textbooks, so they're $100 each at least. I only have one copy of all 16 of them. It took me basically 10 years to finish and purchase. But here's the last 100 or so pages, maybe 75 pages, just called The End. Once upon a time, till death do us part. And it's about reaching the pinnacle of marriage and talks about the marriage vows. Do we take them seriously anymore today? I mean, vows are vows. They're meant to be, you cannot break them. Otherwise, don't do them. But a return to the beginning of the 3-act play of love. And we look at the boundary configurations of our entire courtship process. That was phase one. This is phase two, how the boundaries look. There's love and communication going on. Phase three, the people actually join boundaries. And notice that central mandorla shape that has a mathematical perfection, a ratio of 1.618 to 1, which is phi, seen in beauty, in nature, and art. That the person has not overtaken their partner and become codependent or dominant, but they're also not so cold and distant that they're overly independent. They're interdependent here. But notice the square area of what they share in resources and goals in their relationship is smaller than the total area of each individual, which goes counter to some advice you may have heard that one should put 100% of oneself into a marriage. This would say that's not true. One should put approximately 42% of oneself into a marriage and should have a majority of self to their self.